What is up? What is up, everybody? Sorry about that smooth intro. You'd think as many times as I've done it by now, I'd have that down, but yeah, every now and then, I lose all my good experience. So anyway, super professional. Guys, welcome in. I see y'all gathering there in the chat. I dropped in there a few minutes ago. I always like to lurk for a few minutes just to make sure everybody's coming in. So good to see y'all. I am tickled to be here. I was right on time, which is, like 10, 15 minutes late. So I'm sure everybody's tickled about that. So we're going to hit on the topic that we hit on the other night, the COVID topic. I just think, like I told everybody then, I just think it's a really important subject. The whole deja vu, and look, we're not hearing that much about it right now, and you know what, it may not ever turn into anything, but I don't know. I got a funny feeling that it could, and I want to make sure everybody remembers exactly what all went on, starting in 2020, just so maybe we don't fall for it again, or at least not as easy. Again, not medical advice. Anybody has any questions or ever wonders, please go talk to your doctor. But it's still a good idea to remember exactly what all went on back in 2020. Just, use that as a data point, something to reference if you ever wonder if something's screwy about what's going on. Anyway, all right, guys, without further ado, and you know what? Let me go ahead and scroll through here and see who we got. Mermaid, good to see you. Good to see you. Charlie's Angels. Keza, how are y'all doing? It's good to see y'all. There's Nosy. Hey, Nosy. How you doing? Good to see everybody in here. And I'm sure that we'll have some more piling in here. So there she is. There she is. I was just about to text you, Miss Susan. I saw your comment, and I wasn't sure if that meant you weren't going to be able to make it or what. So I was just about to shoot you a text. So good to see you there. There's the hall monitor. She's back. Everybody, like the video. I know all y'all that are in there right now are subscribed, but anybody else that watches it later, please be sure and subscribe. And y'all know the routine, and trust me, I'll remind everybody again later. So anyway, as I was going to say a minute ago, without further ado, this is called Plandemic, and it is I think it's a 3-part documentary series. So we'll see what the consensus is after this first one. And we can possibly do all 3 of them. But everybody seemed to really like Dr. David Martin the other day, and he's in this one along with some other really smart, very well-decorated individuals. So no guest tonight, Miss Nosy. I had thought about trying to get somebody, but was not able to do that. But that's all right. I've got some guests coming up, so y'all keep an eye out for that. I'm not even going to say all who. But yes, we got some guests coming up. It'll be good, I promise. Anyway, all right, without further ado, guys, let's get this thing rolling, see what y'all think about this.
On behalf of our center and our partners, the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to our audience here in New York, as well as our larger virtual audience participating online today. The Event 201 scenario is fictional.
Hey, y'all let me know, Dr. David Martin, yes and no. He does have some stuff on YouTube. He doesn't have a huge YouTube presence. You'll find, if you search Dr. David Martin, you'll find a fair amount of stuff on him, but most of it will be interviews and stuff like that on other channels. He does have a YouTube channel, but like I said, he's not been super active on it. I think he does have a website though, where he does a lot of videos and stuff. But yes, you can find it. Oh, Nosy said she watched Plandemic. Cool. Did you see all three of them, Nosy? Hey, Rick, what's up? What's up? And Brig, hey, good to see you here. Anybody in here familiar with this event 201? Yeah, Miss Susan. And everybody go give him a follow because he is really, really good. Very, very smart guy. Extensive knowledge in all of this stuff. Just even if it's, anything related to this topic, he is really, really good. So anyway, y'all let me know in the chat if y'all have heard of this event 201. Basically, we found out after the fact that it was pretty much a trial run for everything that happened from 2020 on. And if anybody in here is not familiar with Event 201, just watch this and pay close attention and just think about some of the things that happened over those few years, and probably make you have a funny feeling on the inside. That's what I'm guessing.
Today's scenario is going to simulate meetings of a multi-stakeholder group called the Pandemic Emergency Board.
We're at the start of what's looking like it will be a severe pandemic, and there are problems emerging that can only be solved by global business and governments working together.
There's been some conspiracy theories that are around about the potential that pharmaceutical companies or the UN have released this for their own benefit.
And maybe this is a time for us to showcase some cases where we are able to bring forward some bad actors and leave it before the courts to decide whether they have actually spread some fake news.
A new coronavirus.
Yeah. In other words, if people are online going off the reservation, talking about things that are not, approved talking points, like what happened back in 2020, maybe we'll just arrest them and let the courts decide. Wow.
Infected people got a respiratory illness with symptoms ranging from mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia.
In related news, a significant demand for personal protective equipment like N95 masks and gloves are on the rise. Patients are overwhelming healthcare facilities. People are avoiding public spaces out of fear of infection and in compliance with public health recommendations. Our U.S. affiliate has just released polling results on public expectations for a vaccine, and 65% of those polled are eager to take the vaccine, even if it's experimental.
I'm not optimistic about having a vaccine in time to be relevant during this pandemic.
With enough money and political will, anything is possible.
Penalties have been put in place for spreading harmful falsehoods, including arrests.
If the solution means controlling and reducing access to information, I think it's the right choice.
What exactly are the risks?
Did you hear that one? Yep. If reducing available information is what it takes, then it's the right choice. Because guess what? The people, they're too dumb. They can't handle the truth. They don't need to really know what's going on. All they need to know is what we're suggesting or what we're mandating. They don't need to be able to get this information on their own, and they don't need to be able to talk amongst themselves. It's amazing if you watch this, just how eerily, similar to real life starting in December, starting in 2020. It actually is.
And benefits of staying home from work. Absolutely, we need to save lives, but we literally cannot afford a heavy-handed response that suffocates our economy.
The world saw large-scale protests and in some places riots. This led to violent crackdowns in some countries and even martial law.
Australia be one of them. Our Aussie friends that pop up in the chat every now and then, y'all can talk more on that if you want. But yes, Australia was one of the worst. The UK, a lot of the European countries were rough too. Hey Kelly, what's up? It was pretty rough over there in the. Dr. Judy. Dr. Judy's great. She's in here. but yeah, especially Australia. Australia just got rough. You know, they're the ones that famously built all those whatever you want to call them, internment camps or whatever. Some scary shit's what I call
The
it.
public lost trust in their respective administration.
What's up, basic niche? Let's see. Let's see what we got real quick. Y'all hear about matters from back in the COVID days? See something, say something. Yes, an AI-powered info scrubbing utility used to scrub misinformation about the COVID origins or natural. Exactly. Yes, that, and see, that's the worst part about all of this. Yes, Mermaid, it is on YouTube. I'm playing it off of YouTube. Yes. All you got to do is type in Plandemic and it'll pop up. Anyway, yes, basic. That is, and that's what's scary about the whole AI thing. You know, like it's so good at so many things. There's so many little simple tasks, you know, that for average everyday people, it just makes, you know, so easy, so convenient. It's good for a lot of things, but that is where it's scary, to know that they can turn something like that loose and it just automatically scrub whatever they deem to be dangerous, you know. And honestly, I don't really care what they think is dangerous.
Economists say the economic turmoil caused by such a pandemic will last.
Me neither, Keza. I didn't comply either.
Last for years. The societal impacts, the loss of faith in government, the distrust of news, and the breakdown of social cohesion could last even longer. We have to ask, did this need to be so bad?
See, this is the thing, Mermaid. When you allow the state to decide whether you as a small business are essential or not, that's where you start to have a problem. It is not any of their business. I mean, they do not have the right to say you're not essential, but Lowe's and Home Depot and Walmart and Costco and all of those, they are. So you take a small private owned business that maybe has 3, 4, 10 people in the store at a time. That's non-essential and it's dangerous for you to be open. But by the way, if you need anything, go to Walmart, where there'll be 300 people in the store at any given time. Makes a lot of sense, don't it?
On May 4th, 2020, as part of a documentary series called Plandemic, I released an interview featuring science whistleblower, Dr. Judy Mikovits. The interview received fierce backlash for spreading what the media declared dangerous conspiracy theories. As a father and a veteran media producer, there was no way that I would release harmful information into the world during a moment as vulnerable as now. I had known Dr. Judy for 2 years before filming her interview. I read her book, then thoroughly researched and vetted her story. After interviewing her legal team, former colleagues, and people who have known her for decades, one thing I can say without question is, Judy Mikovits is one of the most honest, caring, and courageous women I've ever known.
I guess I'm going on their map.
Why then would the most powerful forces of big tech, politics, media, and medicine go to such extreme measures to silence her voice all over the world? And why did all of the debunkers invest so much ink and airtime defaming Dr. Judy's character while avoiding very real revelations pertaining to patents, conflicts of interest, and the deadly corruption pervading our global health organizations? To get to the bottom of these questions, as well as many others, I've spent the last several weeks interviewing scholars from all over the world, among them top doctors, distinguished scientists, and Nobel laureates. I also sat down with Dr. Judy for a follow-up interview and to give her the opportunity to respond to critics. You can see that full interview on the Plandemic website. While you're there, make sure to dive down the rabbit hole, where you'll find additional videos, documents, and scientific studies that support the claims and perspectives put forth in the Plandemic series. Here are a few highlights from my follow-up interview with Dr. Judy. What do you have to say to the people who have tried to minimize your involvement with HIV by stating that you were at the bottom of the totem pole, 13th author of a 13-member group of scientists?
Well, you need to get to be friends, Mermaid. That's just the way it goes. If shit hits the fan, you know, and all of a sudden grocery stores, shit's flying off the shelves and not coming back in, it would be in your best interest to know that your neighbor's not going to come to your door with a gun and demand your food. And vice versa. They'd probably like to know the same about you. If you can get to know your neighbors, and especially, if you can get to know them good enough, maybe even have a plan for, such situations where everybody does share. Well, I've got this and I've got that and you've got whatever, and get some kind of rough game plan for, in case it ever come down to that, what you would do to help each other to, make things better. So, yeah, Miss Susan, that's good, and that's always good to hear, and that is a blessing. I'm not blessed with a lot of neighbors, so most of my neighbors are family, though. So.
Yes.
Well, the 13th author is the senior author, so that means they're the most important author.
Why did you agree to retract your own XMRV paper?
The paper was actually force retracted. I was actually being held in jail.
You told me that you had financial offers to remain silent.
If you simply say you made a mistake and promise never to say another word, you can keep everything. You'll get all of your grants. You'll get everything back, millions of dollars. You'll get publication and funding. My lawyer said, that's the best offer you're going to get. I said, you don't understand me. I don't need an offer. I've already lost everything. If I thought even one child or one grandma was injured or killed because I didn't.
That's me, basic. All country folk around me.
Do something that would have ended my life as I know it. There was no money you could ever pay me to get me to cover this up. I will never stop telling the truth.
What's up, Brett? Brett's in the house. What's up? I got to check that out. I have got to check that out. Thanks for the breaking news, Brett. I guess you've been up over your head in X, huh?
I'm the developer of Linguistic Genomics, which was the first platform on which you could determine the intent of communication rather than the literal artifact of communication. But we've also used that technology for a number of other applications in defense and intelligence and finance. And most notably, in the early 2000s, my company was responsible for bringing down what was at the time one of the largest tax frauds in US history. We maintained a series of inquiries into every individual, every organization, and every company that is involved in anything that either blurs the line of biological and chemical weapons or crosses that line in any of 168 countries. In 1999, there were 1 million patents digitized by IBM. And those 1 million patents were the first time human innovation had been put into an electronic digital searchable format. We took that information and we did a very simple exercise using our linguistic genomics technology, where I made the horrific assessment that approximately 1/3 of all patents filed in the United States were functional forgeries, meaning that while they had linguistic variations, they actually covered the same subject matter. In 1999, patents on coronavirus started showing up. And thus began the rabbit trail.
March 2003. Panic grips Hong Kong as a deadly new virus sweeps through the...
Hey guys, yeah, that's a pretty good idea for a mermaid, but instead of doing a poll, because if I do a poll, I'm going to have to sit here and think of all the signs to put in there. But anybody that does know your sign, post it in the chat so we can see what everybody is. Yeah, I'm a Sagittarius, and it seems like most of the community here is Sagittarius. So be interesting to see. Thanks, Mermaid.
City.
In 2003, the Center for Disease Control saw the possibility of a gold strike, and that was the coronavirus outbreak that happened in Asia. They saw that a virus they knew could be easily manipulated was something that was very valuable, and in 2003, they sought to patent it. And they made sure that they controlled the proprietary rights to the disease, to the virus, and to its detection, and all of the measurement of it. We know that Anthony Fauci, that Ralph Baric, that the Center for Disease Control, and the laundry list of people who wanted to take credit for inventing coronavirus were at the hub of this story. From 2003 to 2018, they controlled 100% of the cash flow that built the empire around the industrial complex of coronavirus.
The World Health Organization.
And they wanted this coronavirus because once they got it to where it would infect humans and they got all their particular things that they wanted about it, it was super easy to manipulate. And not only that, it would, the variants would come really, really quickly, and which generally they get weaker as they mutate, but still, it's always a different version coming out. But again, like I said, once they got the thing basically built, then it was really easy to doctor up, to go in there in the lab and make modifications to it. So they, for years and years and decades, they wanted to figure this coronavirus thing out. They knew it was going to be big if they could ever get it like they wanted it.
Has officially named the novel coronavirus
the novel coronavirus outbreak.
The World Health Organization has declared
an international public health emergency.
Those reporters, they weren't reading the script at all, were they? That sounded perfectly organic and natural.
Well, we know that the coronavirus manipulation started with Dr. Ralph Baric in 1999.
The major characteristics of SARS, MERS.
At the University of Chapel Hill, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, be exact.
And SARS coronavirus too. It's a good way for you.
Ralph Baric is the researcher at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, who's famous for his chimeric coronavirus research. In 2002, there was a recognition that the coronavirus was seen as an exploitable mechanism for both good and ill. On April the 25th, 2003, the U.S. Center for Disease Control filed a patent on the coronavirus transmitted to humans under 35 U.S. Code Section 101.
Because again, originally this was not transferable to humans. Like humans could not catch this. This was strictly an animal disease. I can't remember which all could carry it. Obviously monkeys. But yes, this was not a human problem.
Nature is prohibited from being patented. Either SARS coronavirus was manufactured, therefore making a patent on it legal, or it was natural, therefore making a patent on it illegal. If it was manufactured, it was a violation of biological and chemical weapons, treaties, and laws. If it was natural, filing a patent on it was illegal. In either outcome, both are illegal. In the spring of 2007, the CDC filed a petition with the Patent Office to keep their application confidential and private.
Wonder why they would want to do that, Y'all got any good ideas in the chat? Why would they want to keep that confidential?
They actually filed patents on not only the virus, but they also filed patents on its detection and a kit to measure it. Because of that CDC patent, they had the ability to control who was authorized and who was not authorized to make independent inquiries into coronavirus. You cannot look at the virus, you cannot measure it, you cannot develop a test kit for it. And by ultimately receiving the patents that constrained anyone from using it, They had the means, they had the motive, and most of all, they had the monetary gain from turning coronavirus from a pathogen to profit.
Developing and owning a coronavirus vaccine.
And see, one thing that a lot of people don't realize, and I didn't for sure, had no reason to even think about it, but until this, came about, was that, we're not supposed to have biological weapons programs because, it goes against the Geneva Convention, and we have all kinds of treaties about not doing biological weapons and all that. But there's an easy workaround. And what they do is, and that's why you hear a lot of talk of dual use. Dual use means the research that they're doing could be either used to make a biological weapon or to, let's say, create some possible biological weapons that, other countries might use in the future to go ahead and figure out what kind of countermeasures we need. So basically, to figure out what kind of countermeasures are needed, you have to come up with the bugs. So instead of just making the bugs and saying this is to make a weapon, all you've got to say is, we're making some of these bugs like we think could possibly be used in a weapon by somebody else, so we can make countermeasures for it and already have this in case. So basically they're doing the exact same research, but they're doing it under the public health, instead of under biological weapons, making it legal. But it's the exact same research.
Vaccine has become a biotech arms race with political overtones.
This vaccine gold rush is starting to bother me. Gold rush. Let's keep that in mind.
And so somewhere between 2012 and 2013, something happened. The federal funding for research that was feeding into places like Harvard, Emory, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
Yeah, in case anybody wondered, Lyme's disease is not a naturally occurring disease either. No, that had its origins in a lab.
That funding suddenly became impaired by something that happened at the NIH, where the NIH got this little tiny moment of clarity and said, I think something we're doing.
That is true, Rick. Especially under EU, oh Lord, EUA, whatever it is, emergency use authorization, EUA. When there's an executive order, when there's a state of emergency, and they have these emergency use. I can't talk tonight. I'm sorry, guys. That kind of takes all the normal guidelines and guardrails and all that, and it just kind of shit cans all of it, and then you can fast track it. And that's what they did with this latest countermeasure for the COVID, and they tried to keep that absolutely as long as they could. And the reason why was because they didn't have to disclose things, and they didn't have to have any kind of FDA approval or anything to pump this shit into people's arms.
Is wrong. And in 2013, the NIH said gain-of-function research on coronavirus should be suspended. The National Institutes of Health had a moral and social and potentially legal reason to object to research. But the letters that were sent to the researchers essentially said, you are receiving notice.
That is a very good observation, Nosy.
That we're telling you to stop. And now on the bottom of the page, we're going to clarify what stop means. Keep going. But when the heat gets hot in 2014 and 15, what do? You offshore the research. You fund the Wuhan Institute of Virology to do the stuff that sounds like it's getting a little edgy with respect to its morality and legality. But do you do it straight way? No. You run the money through a series of cover organizations to make it look like you're funding a U.S. operation, which then subcontracts with the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The U.S. could say, China did it. China could say, the U.S. did it. And the cool thing is, both of them are almost telling the truth.
Where did the coronavirus come from? There is a new investigation into its origins. U.S. intelligence officials tell NBC News that they are examining whether the virus accidentally came from a Chinese lab.
Chinese officials pushing back against that claim on Thursday, tweeting that
Mermaid, it always goes back to top chats and why I do not know.
it might be the U.S. Army who brought the epidemic to Wuhan.
I was the first person in the world to look at an epidemic and study its characteristics and prove that it was due to biological warfare and was not a natural occurrence. So I published that 28 years ago. Early in this pandemic,
Anthrax, Zimbabwe. You think about all the major outbreaks we have had over the years. Think about all the different, all the different plagues that we've had. Everything from Ebola and anthrax, of course. And there's so many over the years. And it really makes you wonder. And of course, there are people now that are, especially since COVID, it kind of shook people awake, that have gone back and looked into these. And there is some pretty good circumstantial evidence to say that about all of these major outbreaks over the past couple hundred years were some type of biological attack to some extent. And so, yeah, it's really, really scary. And the bad part about it is, and I do definitely want to get into a little bit of this at some point, is there are some very, very much accessible things that you can do. Again, not medical advice. Always talk to your doctor, but for informational purposes only. I would like to cover some of these things that they tend to want to keep hidden. Very accessible things that are easy to get that will take care of most of this stuff, or at least has for me. I'm not speaking for anybody but me, but yeah, I definitely would like to get in a little bit of that too before this is over with.
pandemic, I did not think the coronavirus was a natural occurrence from bats. I feel quite convinced that this was a laboratory-designed organism. There have been hundreds and hundreds of leaks from high-containment laboratories that do research on pathogenic coronaviruses and other potentially lethal organisms. I was particularly interested in a paper that came out in Nature Medicine by 5 scientists claiming, and it was definitely a natural occurrence rather than a lab construct. But the arguments they used did not hold water. They didn't really make a lot of scientific sense. And yet all kinds of very important people started parroting what this paper said. And so that, of course, got me scratching my head saying, why are these people risking their reputation when it's obviously illogical, doesn't hold water? Somebody must have made them publish this, and somebody must have told these other people that they have to say it's a great piece of science.
You were quoted as saying it was a meticulous job done professionally.
Guys, I'm just going off camera. I'm right here.
Could be done by somebody very expert in molecular biology, I think.
Et c'est pas naturel, c'est ce que vous voulez dire?
Non, ce n'est pas naturel, c'était un travail de professionnel, un travail de biologiste moléculaire. C'est un travail très minutieux, on peut dire d'horloger, on peut dire au niveau des séquences.
Mais dans quel but?
Dans quel but, ça, ce n'est pas clair. Moi, j'expose, si vous voulez, mon travail, c'est d'exposer les faits, c'est tout.
See, the problem with all of this is the evidence is right in front of our face. And when confronted with evidence, we are told fact checkers are somehow transcendent.
The pace of our modern world makes it nearly impossible for working people to research the events and policies that shape their lives. When seeking answers to life's most pressing questions, where do we go first? Google. Enter the subject, hit go, and there it is.
And look, we've known for years that Google has been biased. I mean, doesn't matter what subject. You get on there and try to research this stuff right here just by using Google, and you will not get very far, I can promise you. And it's just like anything else, just like the whole Charlie Kirk deal. You, especially some things like the whole Israel question, try Googling that stuff and see how far you get, and how far you get in feeling like you're getting legitimate, real information, you know. And Google has, like I said, Google has always played a big part in this.
Only what they want us to see. In today's culture of copy and paste journalism, it's common for hundreds of unrelated outlets to feature the exact same report. This is not the result of laziness. This is by design. When we see identical headlines across seemingly unrelated platforms, the logical mind concludes, well then, it must be true.
Yes, basic. There was that website. What was the name of that website? You could enter your batch number to see if it was one of the ones that was so bad. I can't remember the name of it, but yes, there was a website just for that.
The illusion that numerous news sources have arrived at the same conclusion gives us confidence to share the chosen narrative. And just like that, we become the unwitting pushers of propaganda. Search engines are the holy grail for those seeking to control the narrative.
Google is already more powerful in terms of its control over people's lives than almost every government on the planet.
As the most influential search engine in the world, through its ubiquitous reach, Google has more power to influence U.S. elections than any foreign nation.
You testified before this committee. You said in subsequent elections, Google and Facebook and Twitter and big text manipulation could manipulate as many as 15 million votes in a subsequent election?
And the methods that they're using are invisible, they're subliminal, they're more powerful than most any effects I've ever seen in the behavioral sciences, and I've been in the behavioral sciences for almost 40 years.
The blacklists is something...
That dude there, that dude has done yeoman's work on like just researching Google, and it's how powerful it is in like swaying the masses. He was looking into more election-based things, you know, but it doesn't matter what it is. It's not just politics. It's anything that they want to control the narrative on. They can sway public opinion hugely in a very short amount of time.
That Google said didn't exist, and they testified that under oath.
And nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. Now, me as an engineer, I just did a search on Google's internal search engine, and guess what I found? It had blacklisted search terms like cancer cures. Why is Google deciding what people can and cannot search for?
What was once an efficient tool for navigating the world of information is now a network for global surveillance, data collection, and social engineering. Now let's take a look at a few of the most commonly used fact checkers, beginning with Snopes. The husband and wife duo of David and Barbara Mickelson founded Snopes.com in 1995. They had no journalism background or training whatsoever. They built their fact-checking empire by using Google as their primary verifying source. The Mickelsons divorced in 2015. Barbara sued David for embezzling money that he allegedly spent on prostitutes, as well as a lavish honeymoon with his new wife, who worked as an escort in Las Vegas before joining the Snopes cast of characters. In 2017, David Mickelson's new business partners filed a lawsuit accusing Mickelson of multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. Snopes proclaims to be the internet's go-to source for discerning what is true and what is total nonsense. Yet one glance at their history of fact-free checking tells another story. When Dr. Mikovits claimed she was arrested without...
What's up, Scruff? Good to see you here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We are talking COVID. I was telling everybody we went over some COVID stuff the other night, and what I told people was I got this severe case of deja vu when I heard about another cruise ship, parked off the coast with lots of sick people, some of them dying. And I thought, where have I heard that before? Oh, I know where I heard this before. So I told everybody that I felt it was important to give everybody a refresher, just to remind them of what happened back in 2020 and the real reasons why it happened. Not medical advice, but at least maybe this time, if they try this again, which I feel like there's a chance they could, maybe we'll be a little less likely to jump in line and put up the "we're closed" sign, stop going places.
Without a warrant and jailed without a charge, Snopes rated her statement false. Had they bothered to explore the arrest documents, they would have seen that indeed there was neither a warrant nor signatures to officiate a charge, a fact that I confirmed with members of Dr. Michaelvitz's legal team.
Was there a search warrant?
No.
And was she ever charged?
No. Never charged with a crime.
100% correct. Judy has never been charged with any crime.
Facebook's fact-checking arm, PolitiFact, is owned by the Poynter Institute, which has received substantial funding from big pharma allies such as Google and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Like Snopes, PolitiFact.
Yeah, Scruff, that was exactly what made him realize that there was some funny shit going on and why he feels so strongly about it.
Has a history of misleading the public. In late January of 2019, PolitiFact, Snopes, and FactCheck.org raced to squash the notion that coronavirus and its treatments were patented. They reviewed only 3 of the 4,452 publicly available patents, which unmistakably show that SARS coronavirus detection and treatment have been widely patented by both the public and private sectors.
Facebook's founder pledged to the WHO, saying they would remove false claims and block exploitative ads.
They're working with the World Health Organization and with the NHS, so they have a hotline, if you like, from those official sources.
Wikipedia is the go-to destination for introductions to people, places, and things. Even the all-knowing Amazon Alexa calls on this digital encyclopedia.
God, and we know, I'm guessing everybody in the chat knows, we all know how reliable and trustworthy Wikipedia is, right?
Alexa, who is Dr. Judy Mikovits?
According to Wikipedia, Judy Ann Mikovits is a former American research scientist who is known for her discredited medical claims. She has been described as an anti-vaccination activist and a promoter of conspiracy theories, and has been accused of scientific misconduct.
Oh, ain't we all been accused of buying into the conspiracy theories, spreading conspiracy theories?
Wikipedia is supported by the Wikimedia Foundation, a nonprofit parent organization with a long history of politically tied funders. Many named, many anonymous. What exactly does a Wikipedia donor receive in exchange for their generosity? What began as an unbiased open-source platform is now weaponized to undermine the work and reputation of anyone deemed a threat to its stakeholders. And once they smear you, they lock you out for making corrections to your own bio. In summary, most independent fact-checkers are neither independent nor factual. Simply put, they are political spin machines.
And so what they have done is they've decided that there's an approved narrative. If it is in line with the CDC's public pronouncements, and if it's in line with the World Health Organization public pronouncements, it is presumed to be correct. I don't have to remind many Americans that the Center for Disease Control was the one that said you should use DDT in your homes.
Used right, it is absolutely harmless to humans and animals.
DDT. What about that?
Remember the name, DDT. It spells certain death.
A scientific panel today reported that pesticides may indeed represent a grave threat to mankind.
DDT was a big pesticide that they used a lot back in the day. And I mean, there was no kind of safety precautions. Like, they just said it was safe. Drink it, take a shower in it, whatever. And I'm being a little bit, hyperbolic there, I guess. But yeah, they were like pushing it hard, telling people to use it. Absolutely no side effects, completely safe. And turns out it was not the case. The CDC has always always failed people.
Remember the swine flu scare of 1976? That was the year the U.S. government told us all that swine flu could turn out to be a killer, and Washington decided that every man, woman, and child...
Very important point, Kelly, and that reminded me of another person that I plan on covering in all this is Dr. Brian Artis. He has done a ton of research into nicotine and how nicotine does fight COVID. And, it's funny that if you go back and look at the numbers, you are correct. There were way less smokers that contracted or died of COVID than non-smokers. And, they tried like hell to push the no smoking, no smoking, especially with the COVID thing. They hit it extra hard. Makes you wonder, were they saying that because they thought they were just wrong and they thought the smokers were going to have a harder time with it? Or is it that they knew that the more people quit smoking, the more people would get sick and possibly, you know what?
...in the nation should get a shot to prevent a nationwide outbreak, a pandemic. Well, 46 million of us obediently took the shot.
Did anyone ever come to you and say, there's the possibility of neurological damage if you get into a mass immunization program?
No.
No one ever did?
No.
I can't believe that they would say that they did not know that there were neurological illnesses associated.
Yeah, yes, nicotine actually, this is something that most people don't realize. In its natural state, at least, nicotine is actually non-addictive. And y'all can fact check me on this. But one of the highest foods in nicotine naturally is eggplant. Y'all fact check me on that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. I bet y'all didn't know that.
With influenza vaccination. That simply is not true. We did know that.
Then he's lying.
I guess you would have to make that assumption.
Then why does this report from your own agency list neurological complications as a possibility? You didn't feel it was necessary to tell the American people that information.
Dr. Sensor's CDC also helped create the advertising to...
So it's all, it's not, obviously this is nothing that has been FDA approved, but there's some good circumstantial evidence that, and there is some evidence that say that smokers didn't get COVID as much as the others, but what Dr. Artis was working on and some others were using the nicotine patches, and they had some really good results on keeping COVID away, and even with COVID, making it, kicking it quicker by using the nicotine patches. So there is a way to use nicotine, obviously, without smoking cigarettes. So
to get the public to take the shot.
The vaccines are safe, so roll up your sleeve.
Yes, ma'am, it does, Nosy. It's got nicotine.
And now Americans are claiming damages from Uncle Sam amounting to $3.5
Mermaid. So there are studies that show that nicotine actually, and it gets really technical, so I'm definitely not going to try to go into all that. Basically, though, that nicotine protects from COVID and can help kill COVID in a nutshell. So that is why the numbers show, if you break them down, that actually fewer smokers contracted and died of COVID back in the days. So, yes, and again, nicotine is supposed to be good for COVID or bad for COVID. I guess it depends on how you look at it, but it's supposed to keep you from getting it and help you kick it easier. Again, not medical advice. Go talk to your professional. Whatever. I'm not giving medical advice.
billion. By far the greatest number of the claims, 2/3 of...
What's up, Penny? Yep, absolutely. That is right. We're going to cover that one of these upcoming shows.
...them are for neurological damage or even death.
There are serious concerns tonight about how well the CDC controls dangerous germs at its own labs after yet another safety lapse.
For the third time in a month, the CDC acknowledged deadly pathogens.
And Nosy, I mean, I get what you're saying, and probably that is true, especially if it was like in a pure concentrated form. But I think pure naturally occurring nicotine is not. And again, I'm not stating this as fact, but the way I understand it is that in its natural state, it isn't. Now, if you were to go by, nicotine in liquid form somewhere, some super concentrated form, yes, probably so. But again, if you injected the white of an egg into your bloodstream, it would kill you. I mean, so there's a lot of things that can be deadly, but the way I understand it, natural pure nicotine in its natural original state is not bad for you at all, the way I understand it.
Pathogens were handled incorrectly in government labs.
That CDC is the CDC that allegedly...
Exactly. Do your own research. And if anybody needs any help getting pointed in the right direction to find said research, I will help. I will help all I can.
...is looking out for your public health. When we start with the assumption that the official dogma has to be the objective standard, then what fact checkers look for is a piece of published media that confirms the statement made by that particular organization. And then debunkers and conspiracy theorist blower-uppers come in and say, we're going to make this thing clearly the scam that it is. Every media outlet that is in the public media right now has planted evidence, and they have re-ranked pages. So if you look today at face mask wearing, and if you look today at social distancing studies, you will see the studies that used to be number 1, number 2, number 3 on the pages of PageRank search don't exist anymore. And what is there are studies that wind up having headlines that support the common narrative.
You're going to be hearing more about advanced guidelines?
Because if you can keep people from assembling, guess what they're not talking about? They're not talking about the issues of the campaign.
Yeah, and so another quick side note is that on the 6-foot social distancing, when pressed, I believe Fauci himself, but I do know several of these big medical professionals that had a lot to do over the public policy back then, when pressed, admitted that there was no science behind the 6-foot distancing. That it was basically just a number somebody drug out of their asshole, and they went with it. But very interesting. But something else that's very interesting that is somewhat related, I would say, is that there are rituals, I guess you could say, for certain religions that do not worship the one and true God. And actually, there is a 6-foot. There's a 6-foot rule when it comes to certain rituals and stuff they do. So I thought that was kind of a interesting data point.
If you can keep people in their homes, the only source of information that you can have is what you curate for them. Now I know how to target my electorate. They're in the only place I allow them to be, being fed the only message I'm allowing them to hear, through a media that I control.
Yeah, sneeze distance, Rick. I get that, but there was no scientific data to show that being 6 feet apart made any meaningful difference as far as spreading the virus. Yeah, Miss Susan, I hit so many little side roads and rabbit trails, and I say we'll touch on all this. Y'all might have to remind me on some of these, but I'll try to put the show together where I can bring up where I can show some of that stuff too. Yeah, there's so much crazy shit that went along with all this. It's just just absolutely mind-boggling.
Since the invention of the printing press, there's been a battle to control disseminated information. In the early 1900s, oil tycoon John D. Rockefeller took control of every newspaper and news editor of his era.
And this is the downfall of medicine right here. This is where healthcare just, true healthcare just, it died with Rockefeller. You know, he is just, you got his name all over so many different things, and he was supposed to be so great for all the, you know, all the different organizations and things that he started in the medical industry. But when it all comes down to it, you find that it was literally not anything to do with anybody's health. It was about stomping out good, you know, good information, good actual health care to keep people healthy, and teaching all the upcoming doctors and nurses and anybody in the medical industry how to treat symptoms instead of actually, you know, treating the root cause, and actually they would rather they want you to be sick. You know, a lot of people think they want us all dead. I mean, yeah, they probably do want a lot of people dead, but they don't want us all dead. We're worth way more to them if we're sick. Big Pharma just wants us sick. I mean, they can treat us for life. It's just like these shots. These shots cause all these heart issues and everything. And what do you know? Right after the whole 2020 thing started to die down, the whole COVID thing started to die down, they come out with some new groundbreaking, groundbreaking heart, you know, some kind of heart medicine. And also now we got turbo cancers, and guess what? Pfizer has been talking about all these new cancer treatments they've got. You know, it's just it pisses me off.
He became America's first billionaire, paving the way for the power-hungry ever since. Thus began the gold rush for the modern world's most precious resource, the narrative.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal?
During a Senate committee investigation, it was revealed that the CIA had been conducting a covert operation to infiltrate and control U.S. media. They called it Operation Mockingbird.
We do have people who submit pieces to American journals. Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks? This, I think, gets into the kind of details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
Over 3,000 CIA contracted and trained operatives were placed in key positions within top media outlets. Posing as editors and journalists, these well-paid actors never dared to question the effect of their lies on the world beyond their cozy studio.
How often does the CIA manipulate the media in this way?
It goes beyond your wildest imagination. Setting up student organizations so they could draw radical students in. 5,000 university professors co-opted to help the CIA manipulate.
All right. So here's my plan. I've been thinking about this for a while. Obviously, this is a slight detour from what we've been talking about, and we're going to keep talking about Charlie. Don't worry about that. But if and when I ever get monetized and I can do memberships, issues like this, Nosy, are what I'm thinking would probably be good for members-only shows, because there is so much out there, and I've dug into so many different things over the years. You know, there are things out there that will take care of cancer. There's things out there that will take care of AIDS. I mean, there are so many things that have been hidden, and I would like to get into all this. And I'm thinking that probably member shows would be the best way to handle that, so we can kind of keep on what we've been on, but also touch on some of these things that I know that y'all have interest in. So I don't know. I just thought of that when I seen that. Nosy thought yeah, it'll happen soon, Miss Susan. It's getting there. We are getting there. Yes, I need 40 more, and then I need, let's see, I still need some more watch hours. but I need 40 more subscribers, and I think I need 1,200 out of 3,000 watch hours. I'm at like, I think I'm at, no, let's see. I don't know. I think I'm at 2,200 watch hours. So I got to have about 800 watch hours. I'm sorry. Anyway, we are definitely getting there.
People's minds. Journalists in the U.S., including big-name journalists, co-opted to function routinely to help the CIA put out stories and biases to the world.
As this 1952 CIA memo says, the aim is...
And Mr. AIDS himself was the one that was basically at the forefront of COVID. Imagine that. Oh, and then come to find out, we realize after they've been mass injecting everybody that guess what? There's a part of the AIDS virus that is in that. People were even testing positive for HIV after getting the shot. That started in Australia, best I remember, was where they first found that.
Controlling an individual to the point...
Thank you, Miss Susan. Thank you. Yes, and anybody else that wants to do that, that would be great. That'll give me watch hours. Y'all can go through there and replay all those videos, whether you're even listening to them or not. If you can just get them playing, that'll give me watch hours. So, yes, thank you, Miss Susan.
Where he will do our bidding against his will.
It's a great brainwashing process to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interest of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country.
Would you say that continues today?
Well, I would think probably for a reporter it would continue today, but because of all of the revelations, I think you've got to be much more careful about it.
So how do we know that Operation Mockingbird still isn't in effect?
Oh, it is. I can promise you that. It very much is.
Well, we don't.
It was the Telecommunications Act of 1996 that opened the door for predatory corporations to monopolize the industries of print and broadcast.
This bill protects consumers against monopolies. It guarantees the diversity of voices.
Today, a handful of corporate
That
empires
was a lying son bitch, Bill Clinton. Good God. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
own and control the vast majority of everything you read, hear, and watch. From the biggest movie studios, television and radio networks, newspapers and magazines, to the vast universe of internet news and entertainment sites.
Amazon has transformed its operations in response to COVID-19 to protect employees and keep packages flowing.
The company is keeping its employees safe and healthy while still delivering those.
Slick Willie, that's right, Kelly.
And packages to your doorstep. The company is keeping its employees safe. Keeping its employees safe. The company is keeping its employees.
Yes, Mermaid, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and where did it start? It's funny, a lot of these things start in places like Africa, you know. It's almost like certain people consider those people in those third world countries, not even, I mean, like, not even like a color thing, but just, you know, some of these third world places, some of these poorer nations, you know, whatever, people don't know any better. They'll go in there and they're gonna give everybody vaccines to, you know, take care of the malaria or take care of the this or take care of the that. And next thing you know, you got something like AIDS just going crazy. Yeah, funny. Every single time they try to go help every single time. Look at Bill Gates.
Millions of Americans staying at home are relying on Americans staying at home.
And that is how it works. It's like a house of mirrors, where you're seeing the same thing over and over and over again, except it's distorted.
There's an industry that is paid to go after and target journalists, whistleblowers, and inundate our consciousness.
No, Mermaid, that is not where it came from. Yes, the Muskegee. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Or the Tuskegee. You talking about the Tuskegee? Yes, where all those black people were they were given syphilis without knowledge. Yes, absolutely.
And the images we see to try to ruin, destroy.
And that was an experiment. The Tuskegee experiment was an actual legit experiment where, I mean, it was government sanctioned, whatever. I mean, like, they gave those people syphilis so they could see what happened and never told them until obviously years later.
Or smear the idea that they don't like or the person who's delivering it.
You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press, so they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic.
You tell them, Nancy. Go get them.
Welcome back, everybody.
News personalities are not the only high-paid actors to serve the propaganda machine. Most late-night talk shows are owned by the same corporate overlords and thus follow the same script, only laced with a laugh.
Our main story tonight concerns conspiracy theories.
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver featured a skit entitled Coronavirus Conspiracy Theories.
Like the claim that the moon landing was faked.
First thing to note here is that Mr. Oliver opens with commentary about conspiracy theories that are completely unrelated to coronavirus. This is a standard tactic used by propagandists to set a tone so that anything that follows will be seen through the lens of absurdity.
Plandemic, a pseudo-documentary filled with a hodgepodge of conspiracy theories.
Mr. Oliver then does his best to debunk Dr. Judy's claim that she was arrested but never charged with a crime.
She was absolutely criminally charged.
This was not an oversight, but a blatant lie. Prior to the taping of this episode, Mr. Oliver had the official arrest documents that clearly prove that Dr. Judy was never charged with a crime. Mr. Oliver then attempts to debunk the idea that a beach, aka nature, holds any value in boosting our body's natural immune system. Instead of challenging the point with science, he kills it with a smear.
Everything that you just said is insane.
Television is not the truth. We do it in.
So you take a lady that has been involved in some of the, I mean, the biggest, most important scientific research projects ever, and was way up. Wasn't just a grunt, like was leading some of these things. Somebody with more PhDs than you can count, like very, very, well-read, very, very, very well educated, and as credible as they come. And you get some jackass freaking dumbass reporter, some late night host, that didn't make it as a comedian, so they decided to do late night, and then all of a sudden they think that they're, I guess that they think all of a sudden because they want to crack a joke about her that what gives them the right? Why do they? How can they even feel comfortable doing that? Like, that makes people look so stupid. But I guess they're just doing what they're told.
Illusions, man. None of it is true. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion. So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now.
Penny, that is awful. And I keep getting I keep going down all these little side trails, but anyway, I do want to say this. People that want to compare that shot to previous shots, flu shots, and don't get me wrong, I don't take flu shots. I don't think, again, not medical advice, I don't take flu shots. I don't feel the need, and I don't feel like any of them are good for you, and I feel like you're going to get something negative every time, either way, regardless. You know how many people I know that have religiously taken a flu shot for decades? How many people do y'all know that took shots? I do not know one single person that has ever had any kind of side effect, at least that they were aware of or made me aware of, from taking a flu shot. You know, definitely weren't vaccine injured. Again, at least to my knowledge or their knowledge. But you know how many people I know that took this last shot that have had issues and either died or had serious complications or even some milder complications? Like, that in and of itself should tell you something. I don't know anybody that has had issues from taking a flu shot. But by God, this other shot.
Turn them on!
In 1979, the world decided that we needed the Bayh-Dole Act because we needed to reform our patent system. And one of the modifications was we allowed recipients of federal funding to patent and retain economic interest in the research that the public paid for. You get a $5 million grant from the taxpayer, and then you get to charge the taxpayer a premium for the technology they paid to develop.
Pfizer's going to get nearly $2 billion. Moderna receiving $438 million in taxpayer money. And yet both companies have said they will not sell the vaccine at cost. They're going to make a profit on it.
They're going to make a profit on it. They're going to make the United States government pay them well for all those shots. And again, just like he just said, but yet our taxpayer dollars paid for all of the research to make the thing. Now, how much sense does that make? I guess it makes a lot of sense if you're in the vaccine business.
Pharmaceutical companies profit off this vaccine research that taxpayers have helped fund.
And the Bayh-Dole Act failed the American people because rather than standing on the shoulders of giants, we now kneel at the feet of greed. My systems flagged anomalies when I started seeing nonprofits and corporates and cover financing for coronavirus programs in the late summer and fall of 2019. Our first red flag came out when we read the World at Risk scenario. Now, there's an organization called the Global Monitoring Preparedness Board. This organization is a part of the World Health Organization, and this board includes Dr. Elias from the Gates Foundation and Anthony Fauci from NIAID. These two individuals, plus the director of the Center for Disease Control in China, come out with a recommendation that says that by September 2020, 2 global pandemic preparedness exercises have to be completed. And one of them has to be done on the release of a respiratory pathogen. That then
On the release of a respiratory pathogen. Now that's convenient.
Gave rise to an October event, Event 201.
On behalf of our partners in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Event 201 took place 5 months before COVID-19 was declared a pandemic. The participants of the event are some of the same people that are now deeply involved in the real pandemic and profiting from it as well. Event 201 was a scripted, multi-camera, live event that was broadcast globally via the internet. An event of this complexity and magnitude would take months to write, prep, and produce, placing the conception date at least 1 year prior to the actual pandemic.
There is no question that there will be a surprise outbreak.
Anthony Fauci knew as
There it was, 2017. There's no question there will be a surprise outbreak. He was talking about, in President Trump's 4 years. That was just right after he was, best I remember, that was just not long after he was inaugurated.
early as January of 2017 that we would see an outbreak before the end of 2020. Even Bill Gates, a man with no medical training, knew it was coming.
If we start now, we can be ready for the next epidemic.
Every single thing that you have seen play out in front of your eyes, all of them laid out in their tabletop exercise, which, by the way, fact checkers have said has nothing to do with the coronavirus outbreak. Just happenstance. This is that wonderful universe of improbabilities where events just co-emerge and then nature conveniently backs itself into
What's up, Rob? What's up?
Our architecture.
I mean, child molester. Oh man, such a PDF file.
That's the scenario we're supposed to accept. Brilliant.
Some countries have banned travel from the worst affected areas.
The president has made a decision to suspend all travel to the United Kingdom and Ireland.
Dis and misinformation circulating over the internet.
Across the world, misinformation about the virus is being shared online.
A significant demand for N95 masks and gloves are on the rise.
The demand for N95 masks to prevent the deadly airborne virus has surged. We could eventually have 52 million treatment courses per year, but it will take many months to get there.
We're still many months out from having something that we can really deploy to the public.
And 65% of those polled are eager to take the vaccine, even if it's experimental.
A new poll finds that 49% of Americans say they would.
I bet there ain't gonna be no 65% eager to to take this next one, by God.
Get a COVID-19 vaccine should an effective one be discovered.
I'm curious, who wrote the Event 201 script? If the visionaries of the event knew, at least 1 year in advance, what was needed, why didn't they take care of those things? Considering that Bill Gates has donated half of his fortune to make the world safer, why didn't he help to better prepare our hospitals and frontline workers? Why didn't any of the event's wealthy sponsors do something?
Now here we are. You know, we didn't simulate this. We didn't practice.
On behalf
Yeah, the fuck they did.
of our partners in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
So both the health policies and economic policies, we find ourselves in uncharted territory.
They played all this shit out 5 months before it hit. Like they went through the whole shit and caboodle.
Event 201 was not the first scripted exercise to prophesize the future with astonishing accuracy. Leaders of global health and business have been seeding reality with fictional scenarios for several decades.
The scenario obviously is fictional.
1 year prior to Event 201, many of the same sponsors, hosts, and actors came together to produce a tabletop pandemic simulation for a fictional virus they branded Clade X.
1 year to produce a vaccine for this is too long.
We should have stockpiled, we didn't, but we're going to have to look at that vaccine question to see if we can speed up the delivery.
And if we do not have the public with us, we're in big trouble.
In 2010, the Rockefeller Foundation released a 54-page document called Scenarios for the Future of Technology and International Development. Page 18 features the pandemic scenario, Lockstep, a world of tighter top-down government control and authoritarian leadership, with limited innovation and growing citizen pushback.
What's up, Glenn Coco? How you doing? Good to see you here.
China's government was not the only one that took extreme measures to protect its citizens from risk and exposure.
Yeah, like what? Welding them into apartment buildings? I mean, like, I don't know if y'all seen those videos on YouTube, but they were literally going and welding the doors shut to apartment complexes to keep people from coming out. Yeah, they really, really protecting their people.
During the pandemic, national leaders around the world flexed their authority and imposed airtight rules and restrictions, from the mandatory wearing of face masks to body temperature checks at the entries to communal spaces like train stations and supermarkets. Even after the pandemic faded, this more authoritarian control and oversight of citizens and their activities stuck and even intensified.
We are living in a time where leadership, unfortunately, is compromised. And by that I mean that individuals are placed in power for their ability to be influenced, not their merits of leadership. Nothing could be clearer than the leadership of the World Health Organization.
Nosy, there were different studies done as far as what particular races of people they affected worse than others. And it just so happened coincidentally that it did not affect Asian folks like it did us. So take that how you want, whether that was intentional or not, but that is the case. So that may have something to do with their numbers flattening some.
Organization.
The World Health Organization is the institution granted exclusive power to guide and protect the health and wellness of humanity. The WHO is sustained by private donations, the bulk of which are made by pharmaceutical and biotech corporations who have a vested financial interest in the organization's support. In 2017, the Associated Press reported that the WHO routinely spends about...
What's up, Raining? Oh, you can always go back and watch it again tomorrow. We're getting close, but yeah, it's been some good stuff, I feel like, anyway. Yeah, good to see you here, though. Thank you for dropping in.
$200 million a year on travel expenses, more than what it spends to fight some of the biggest problems in public health, including AIDS, tuberculosis.
They could have, Nosy, but look, I mean, if it was anything like the one that we had, I mean, seems like the more people would have been falling off dead than anything now.
And malaria combined.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.
Well, that was an unceremonious end to that one. I apologize for that. I forgot I forgot how that ended. Let's see. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Since Raining just got here, let's just get a little taste of the next one. We'll just watch a few minutes of it, okay? We'll get a little taste of the second of 3 episodes.
On behalf of our center and our partners, the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to our audience here in New York, as well as our larger virtual audience participating online today. The Event 201 scenario is fictional. Today's scenario is going to simulate meetings of a multi-stakeholder group called the Pandemic Emergency Board.
We're at the start of what's looking like it will be a severe pandemic. And there are problems emerging that can only be solved by global business and governments working together.
There's been some conspiracy theories that are around about the potential that pharmaceutical companies or the UN have released this for their own benefit.
And maybe this is a time for us to showcase some cases where we are able to bring forward some bad actors and leave it before the courts to decide whether they have actually spread some fake news.
A new coronavirus. Infected people got a respiratory illness with symptoms ranging from mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia.
In related news, a significant demand for personal protective equipment like N95 masks and gloves are on the rise. Patients are overwhelming healthcare facilities. People are avoiding public spaces out of fear of infection and in compliance with public health recommendations. Our U.S. affiliate has just released polling results on public expectations for a vaccine, and 65% of those polled are eager to take the vaccine, even if it's experimental.
I am not optimistic about having a vaccine in time to be relevant during this pandemic.
With enough money and political will, anything is possible.
Penalties have been put in place for spreading harmful falsehoods, including arrests.
If the solution means controlling and reducing access to information, I think it's the right choice.
What exactly are the risks and benefits of staying home from work? Absolutely, we need to save lives, but we literally cannot afford a heavy-handed response that suffocates our economy.
The world saw large-scale protests and in some places riots.
Well, way more than what it's going to be this next time, Rod.
This led to violent crackdowns in some countries and even martial law. The public lost trust in their respective administration. Economists say the economic turmoil caused by such a pandemic will last for years. The societal impacts, the loss of faith in government, the distrust of news, and the breakdown of social cohesion could last even longer. We have to ask, did this need to be so bad?
On May 4th, 2020.
What's up, Crystal? Good to see you there.
As part of a documentary series called Plandemic, I released an interview featuring science whistleblower, Dr. Judy Mikovits. The interview received fierce backlash for spreading what the media declared.
Well, guys, I am starting to realize that in spite of them being marked 1 and 2, that we have started the same one over again. Let's see. But I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to run this forward about to where that one ended and see if the rest of this episode is there. All right, let's see.
Through EcoHealth Alliance, through the Sherlock Biosciences connection back into open philanthropy, and all of them also have links directly to NIAID, Anthony Fauci's funding sources. If you have conflicts of interest in the funding and in the decision-making and in the inside knowledge that you have between competing or competitor organizations, that is a violation of the antitrust laws of the United States. These are federal crimes.
If you had the power to immediately fix whatever's wrong with our current medical system, where would you start?
Conflicts of interest. About 40 or 50 years ago, pharmaceutical CEOs actually went to jail if they knowingly sold a bad product and concealed information about the problems with that product. Since then, all they have done is paid fines. And so selling a product and concealing information about it is okay because...
I tell you what, I don't think I found the right spot. I'm sorry, I got my videos mixed up. One was marked 1, one was marked 2. I guess I should have gone through them to make sure that's actually what they were. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow sometime I will get the original movie we played and find out exactly where it stopped, and then we will pick this up again tomorrow with tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm going to I'll try to come on tomorrow night, but if not, we'll be back on the 9 o'clock a.m. Central Time for Tuesday morning. But that way I can make sure I get this in the right place and nobody misses anything. Guys, I'm telling you, I just I went deep down the rabbit hole not too long after this stuff started back in 2020, and there's a lot of information out there, and there's a lot of people that haven't heard this stuff. A lot of people that naturally feel this way since 2020 don't really know why. So I don't know. I just felt like it'd be a good thing to bring some of this up, go over some of this, refresh people's memories at least, because, you know, that's one thing about us humans. We tend to have very, very short memories. Yes, that's the way I feel about it, Nosy. Yep. And it never hurts. I can't think of anybody that's going to hurt to refresh their memory, you know. But guys, I thank y'all all for coming out and hanging out with me. That y'all are definitely what makes this worth doing. So always enjoy getting in here and hanging out with y'all guys. Let's see, anything else? Please like the video, share on all your socials, of course. Anybody that sees this in the future, please subscribe. I know everybody I'm talking to right now, or at least everybody in the chat, subscribed. So yeah, please subscribe for much more like this. And of course, we'll be back on our regular Charlie Kirk thing too. Just decided to break it up a little bit. And look, we're getting closer to the whole monetization thing, which makes me feel really good. If anybody does want to or is willing to help me out monetarily, post it in the top of the chat and also in the description of the video are my 3 links. I've got Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal. So whatever flavor you prefer. But yeah, anything you can do, 5, 10, 20, whatever. If you can't do anything, you showing up means the world to me. So anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to get off here. I got to go to work tomorrow, and I'm sure some of y'all do too. So let's call it here, and be watching for a post. I'll let y'all know for sure when I'm coming back. So I'm going to try to finish that video up tomorrow night. If not, we'll be back for sure Tuesday morning. So, all right, guys. Thank y'all. Good night.